And so for those who had to make detours and trees down and all of that, but we're so grateful. We had a great session earlier and looking forward to what you have to share. Did you all? Okay. And if you need to bring that closer, you will. I'm just buying some time until they get in here. Okay? You can keep the music playing a little bit, Lou. Jim, can you check the hallways and tell them, hey, you got 60 seconds. Come on in. Use your authoritative voice. Well, I tell you what, let's go ahead. Are you prepared to begin? Amen. Are we live? Okay, so thank you all so much. We're excited about this next session. And as we begin, I'm going to have Reverend Dolores to come and do the introductions of these two extraordinary professionals who will be blessing us with information today. Reverend Dolores.
I am so happy to have this opportunity this afternoon to introduce to you two gentlemen. First, Dr. Joseph Fowler, Jr. Dr. Fowler is a licensed chiropractor in Georgia and founding partner in Aligned for Life, a chiropractic practice focused on holistic health and wellness based on leveraging the science and techniques of chiropractic medicine. Dr. Fowler came to appreciate the value and benefits of chiropractic treatments after his father, who was diagnosed with heart disease and stroke, was able to live 10 additional years as a result of chiropractic treatment administered by a cousin. Dr. Fowler is a native of Atlanta. He grew up in the Edgewood community. Dr. Fowler loves taking care of people of all ages and is experienced in treating various chronic pain situations for individuals, families, and athletes and car accident victims. He also enjoys spending time with his family and has been married to his wife, Dr. Jocelyn Jonas Fowler, for 20 years. Dr. Brandon K. Williams is a licensed chiropractor in Georgia as well and founding partner in Aligned for Life, a chiropractic practice focused on holistic health, wellness based on leveraging the science of techniques in chiropractic medicine. Now, he got into it after injuring his back as a young pre-med student and being successfully treated by a chiropractor, where other types of treatments failed. They didn't work. Dr. Williams pursued a career as a doctor of chiropractic with a background in physical education and health. Dr. Williams' experience in exercise science afforded him the unique opportunity to intern at the 2012 Track and Field U.S. Olympics trials. He's a native of South Carolina. So, somebody else here is from South Carolina, all right now. And he's married to Shantae L. Williams, Esquire, and enjoys spending time with his two beautiful boys, Samuel, age 7, and Asher, age 4. Dr. Williams and Dr. Fowler are partners in Aligned for Life and have participated in the following activities. They've been with Congressman David Scott's annual health fair, CHAMPS Community Health and Men's Promotion Summit for Men's Health, and Derek Bozeman's Black Men Read, DeKalb County Retired Teachers Association, and the Berean Pathfinder Series and Health Talks. Let's welcome Dr. Joseph Fowler Jr. and Dr. Brian K. Williams. Gentlemen, would you please come up? Now let's give them our Hillside welcome. We got two handsome gentlemen here. Extend your hands as we say, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we thank God for you. And we're anxious to hear what you have to say to us.
Well, good afternoon. Well, let's try that again. Let me pause so y'all can get ready. Good afternoon. All right. So I'm Dr. Joseph Fowler Jr.
And I'm Dr. Brandon K. Williams. Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you for having us. As was stated earlier, we are chiropractors. What we do, what we love to do is take care of people holistically, naturally. So as chiropractors, let's just get right into it. As chiropractors, we take care of the nervous system, especially the central nervous system, which consists of the brain and spinal cord. All your other systems, hormone, immune, respiratory, reproductive, musculoskeletal, urinary, it doesn't matter. They all run off of that central nervous system. So if the central nervous system is not operating properly, none of the other systems are going to operate properly. I don't care how many drugs you take, how many surgeries you have. Doc, you want to add?
Absolutely. So as Dr. Fowler mentioned, true care and true healing starts with the central nervous system. So when we're conceived, the very first system to form is the nervous system, okay? So before you have a heartbeat, before you have any organs formed in your body, the very first system to form is the central nervous system. Just as it is the first system to form, it is the last system to die. So when your heart stops beating, your central nervous system is still functioning. That is how important God has made that system for our bodies. So because of that, if your central nervous system is not functioning properly, no other system in your body is going to be functioning properly. That's why as chiropractors, as holistic chiropractors, our main focus is the central nervous system. Our portal of entry into your central nervous system is the spine, okay? The spine is the extension of the central nervous system. So the brain, and then shooting off of the brain, you have the spinal cord. The spine is a series of bones that protects the spinal cord. And shooting off of the spinal cord, you have a series of what are called spinal nerves. And those spinal nerves are what provide function for our entire body. So as chiropractors, our portal of entry into your central nervous system is through the spine and those spinal nerves.
Yeah, so you guys like to talk about community a lot in here, right? Wait a minute. That's what y'all talk about, right? Community, right? Okay, let me ask that again. Y'all talk about community, right? All right. So, we like to merge what we do with just everyday things, because that's how you guys, us, all of us, can actually understand better how the body works. So our talk today is centered around your body and the community within. All right, so let me go. I'm going to good old Google right quick, all right, for this definition, because we got a lot of Google Docs in here, I think. All right, so Google describes community as a group of people living in the same place or having a particular characteristic in common. Let me go down to the bottom here. The other definition that I like is community is a group of interdependent organisms of different species growing and living together in a specified habitat. So I like that definition because that's how it is. Our body, nothing exists in the body alone, right? If there's something going on in the body, the other parts of the body react to that. The question is it reacting properly, okay? So all of our organs, all of the cells is a community. And in order for a community to thrive, it has to be able to cooperate and work together. That's how our body is too. As I look up here in Hillside, I like y'all have different words for every month, right? The month of August, I like it has will, right? So the way God made us, the body will itself to heal. We know this because if you get a cut, as long as you don't cut an artery or something, as long as you keep it clean, it will heal itself, right? But if you don't take care of your body will not take care of you.
Absolutely. We always tell our patients it's a two-pronged approach when it comes to health, especially for what we do from a chiropractic perspective. We talk about the structure, which is what we're talking about now, the spine, all the other anatomical parts of your body, the structure. But we also talk about function, okay? And that is something that typically gets missed when we're talking about your overall health or healing. The both work hand in hand, right? We work on your structure. So when you come to our office and we're rendering the care that we give in our office, whether it be through the chiropractic adjustment or through the various modalities that we utilize in our office, we're working on the structure at that point. But we can't work on the structure alone. We also have to focus on the function. Structure yields proper function. Proper structure yields proper function. So we operate by four principles in our office. First being proper chiropractic care, right? That's where we come in at the professionals, right? You come to us to make sure that you're getting good chiropractic care. Secondly is proper nutrition, right? So we are counseling our patients on proper nutrition. What type of foods you're eating, what type of foods you should not be eating, what type of foods, given the ailments that you may be experiencing, what foods and nutrients may be helpful in you dealing with those ailments. What time of day should you be eating your meals? That is another conversation that we have with our patients. Make sure that you, for instance, take your last meal at least 3 to 4 hours before you lay down to go to bed at night, because you don't want your body focused on digesting food when your body is trying to rest, because our bodies heal when we rest. But if we're not getting proper rest, our bodies are not properly healing. Proper exercise, that is the third principle. We got to make sure that we're moving. God made us to move, right? But as time has progressed and we become advanced in our technologies and things of that nature, the type of jobs and occupations that we've become a sedentary people, right? There's an article that came out a few years ago that said that sitting is the new smoking. And what that means is...
Oh, say that again, Doc. Say that again.
Let me say that again to make sure everybody heard me there. Sitting is the new smoking.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? Just because you don't smoke doesn't mean that you're healthy, right? So that means that we as a people, we have to get up and move. And no, that doesn't mean you got to walk a marathon every day. But that does mean that we got to get up and we got to be doing at least 30 to 45 minutes of consistent exercise, at least 3 to 4, even 5 days per week. What that does is it gets our blood flowing, it is exercising our muscles, it is getting your heart pumping, and that is what's bringing us life, right? Life is in the blood, healing is in the blood, and we got to make sure that that blood is flowing properly throughout our bodies. And the last principle, the fourth principle, is proper rest, right? And that is something that we as a society, we as a people, is something else that we struggle with. The average human being should be getting at least 6 to 8 hours of rest every night. So who in here is getting 6 to 8 hours every night?
Uh-oh.
All right, I see a lot of hands up, but I also see a lot of hands that aren't up. So you got to remember 6 to 8 hours of sleep every night, because, again, what did I say earlier? Our bodies heal when we rest. But guess what? If we don't rest or we don't rest adequately, our bodies are not able to heal, whether that be from a cut that Dr. Fowler mentioned earlier, from a cold or flu, or something else that may be more serious that's brewing in our bodies. That rest is allowing our body to heal so that it can defend itself from those pathologies and those pathogens. 6 to 8 hours of sleep every night. The best hours of sleep are between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m., all right? So I know a lot of us, we got some night owls out there.
Yep.
So you want to make sure that you are getting to bed by as close to 10 p.m. as possible. And I will allow Dr. Fowler to go into some of the stimulants that can prevent us from getting proper sleep at night and some of the things that we want to address there.
Yes. So Doc mentioned the 4 principles. We also stand on 4 pillars, all right? The pillars are God, the creator, mind, body, and soul. So some of the stimulants or detractors from allowing us to have proper sleep, all right? So Doc mentioned proper nutrition and the right hour or times, right, to eat. And so what we should be doing is not eating any foods within 4 hours of us laying down to sleep, okay? So let's think about this. The intestines, right, the GI tract. The GI tract is a soft tissue. It's a muscle, right? No different from any other muscle in the body, all right? All right, so let's just say if Brother Bomar and Doc and I, we start working out. You work out, right? Yeah, okay. All right. Let's just say if we start curling, right? If we keep on curling, this bicep is going to get big, right? But if we keep curling, we don't get this bicep a chance to rest. I don't care how big it is, it's not going to be able to lift what we were just lifting. Our intestines is the same thing, all right? So one of the problems that we have is, and just in general in society, is we don't give our intestines time to rest, all right? One of the main functions of your GI tract is to squeeze, and I'm going to be very nice, but squeeze the fecal matter out of you, all right? So if you don't give your intestines time to rest, and that's what you eating at a certain time, then your intestine won't be able to squeeze the fecal matter out of you. So literally, there are a lot of people that's walking around here that's full of, and I'll let y'all figure that out. All right, so God has, and again, that's just one detractor. Again, just rest, like Doc said. Yeah, we sleep because we're tired, but God instituted sleep for healing. Doc and I, we are energy movers. Isn't that what y'all talk about around here, moving energy and stuff? Absolutely. Is that right? Okay, all right. So a lot of people that come to us, they have negative energy. When you're in pain or discomfort, that is negative energy, regardless of how you got it, whether it be an accident or that person you sleep next to, regardless of how you got it. That's negative energy. So one of the things we do by working with the central nervous system is to change the energy. Energy can neither be created nor destroyed, but simply transformed. And that's what we do. We transform the energy. So God has allowed us to be able to, our youngest patient to date, 2 days old. Oldest patient, 99. We take care of a myriad of different ailments. So, of course, a lot of people come to us because of accidents. In Atlanta, we have a lot of accidents, personal injury, auto accidents, slip and falls, all that. But we have people that come to us with sinus issues because you can get your sinuses adjusted, and it allows that mucus to flow into the lymphatic system. I see somebody that say, me. And it allows that mucus to flow into the lymphatic system like it's supposed to, and you don't have the running nose, water eyes, and all that. We have people that come to us, for example, females with libido and fertility issues. Males, erectile dysfunction, because everything starts and ends with that central nervous system. And so the central nervous system being interfered with can also cause the lack of sleep or the ability to not be able to go to sleep. Now, other detractors are, Doc mentioned technology, right? So, technology, we say this, we call this a smartphone, right? But we've heard the phrase that smartphones will make you dumb. And I don't mean that in a negative way, but I just think about when my mom and dad growing up, I knew their number, I knew the address, I knew aunt and uncle's numbers, like that, and they're still here. But every number that I've had since I've gotten this phone, it ain't here, it's here. So, so this not only makes us dumb, as they say, but it makes us lazy. Technology, for as good as it is, can make us lazy. Now, let's go back to the phone. A lot of people have these phones next to their bed at night. Uh-oh. Somebody
Some
say,
people
ouch.
even have them in their hands when they're in the bed at night.
Right. I'm talking about knocked out, just like. So, what we're dealing with is electromagnetic waves. When we deal with it, not only the phones, those signs, exit signs, they have electromagnetic waves, the microwave, all that stuff, right? Most of us, when we're sleeping on our beds, they have springs in it, right? Those coils act as antennas or magnifiers. So even though you have this up against your body in your pocket all day long, and let's just say you keep it in your left pocket all day and it only affects the the left side. Well, if you have this next to the bed, you're laying across all those antennas or springs. So it is now amplifying this through your entire body. So some people, well, I can't go to sleep until this, or when I go to sleep, when I wake up, I still feel tired. This could potentially be one of the reasons why you're still tired or you can't sleep and all that, as well as having the TV on and all that. Doc, I'll let you.
Absolutely. The phone is a big detractor from getting good quality sleep. Dr. Fowler just alluded to the next thing is the TV. A lot of us, as soon as we hit the bed, what do? Grab the remote, turn the TV on.
Right.
And then you're probably watching the 11 o'clock news or whatever it is.
Or it's watching you.
Or it's watching you. And, as they say in the news, whatever bleeds, leads. So you're hearing about the latest robbery or the latest murder, and that is the last thing in your mind when you're trying to lay down and get a proper rest, right? So even though your eyes may be closed, your brain is still going. And if your brain is still going, the rest of your body is still going. So when we talk about environment, not just the environment within our bodies, but what is going on around our bodies. So you want to remove as many of these stimulations as you possibly can. Leave your phone in the other room, or better yet, just turn it off, right? Another thing is, whether it be from our tablets, our phones, our computers, there's a lot of blue light emanating through the screens here. Those blue lights act as a stimulant. It actually helps to release stress hormone in the body called cortisol, right? Cortisol stimulates the sympathetic nervous system. And not to get too scientific, but basically what that means, it is stimulating your body in a way that when you're trying to sleep, your body does not need to be stimulated. So we always say, turn the phone off, leave it in the next room, take the TV out of the bedroom, or at least turn it off, right? Even if it's the radio, again, that radio is communicating with an antenna somewhere. So you want to take the radio out of the room as well. Anything that is going to prevent you from getting a good quality sleep, because the purpose is to what? Rest. So you have to allow your body to rest so that you can heal, rejuvenate, and feel rested when you get up the next morning. You know that if you get up the next morning and you've been laying in your bed for 8 or 9 hours and you get up and you're still tired, that is a sign and an indicator that something is not right. Whether it be, something from a dietary perspective, or it could have been the last meal that you ate the night before. If you've eaten a lot of sugar or caffeine or rich foods the night before, then you're probably going to wake up groggy because your body has been fighting and working to digest and break down those foods all night long. If you've been on the TV or on the cell phone and you wake up and you're tired, again, just kind of listen to your body. Your body will tell you what it needs. So, absolutely.
Yeah. So, like Doc said, the body will tell you what it needs. Oftentimes, because we're not in tune with the body, we don't oftentimes hear when it's trying to tell us what it needs. So, think about the car. And that check engine light come on, or the O2 sensor light come on, right? That is that car trying to tell you, hey, you need to take me to the shop or to get something done, or I will put you on the side of the road. Well, our bodies are like that too. If you wake up and you say, I'm tired, or if there's some kind of pain going on and you're ignoring it or don't realize it, right? Well, eventually, if it is not taken care of, because that is considered a dis-ease. Dis-ease. But if you allow a dis-ease to go on too long, it will turn into a disease. All right? And what do diseases like, for example? Diseases, for example, arthritis. Arthritis loves joints, and we've talked about this. Arthritis loves joints that don't move. Let me say that again. Arthur. So some of y'all have let Arthur, he knocked on the door, and y'all let Arthur in. Well, one reason why he came in, because you didn't move. so move. You know, again, one of the biggest issues with this society is that sedentary lifestyle. Again, we go back to technology. Yes, it's good. I'm not saying it's not good. We're not saying it's not good, but it can make us lazy. And with that laziness has consequences, all right? And a lot of times it can be negative consequences like arthritis. All right, cancer, C word. And a lot of diseases kind of take on the same characteristics as to what it likes. So cancer loves sugar. Cancer loves salt. What I like to say, you know, we like to say, as far as eating, right, meals, it's okay to eat Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's on Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. The problem is we're eating Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's 365 days a year. And we should not be doing that. So again, we have to be advocates for ourselves. You know, we have been intentionally misinformed about our bodies because we have a system that wants us to be in the system. You get sick, give you just enough to get out of that pain or discomfort, but it doesn't necessarily cure the issue, right? Or we get sick and we go to the doctor and they be like, okay, I'm gonna give you this drug, pill, or whatever, and you continue to eat or do what you're doing that got you in that situation, but what you're gonna do is continue to take the pill, but you're not solving the problem. And so we have to be advocates again for each other. You know, one thing that's great about Doc and I is we're not just the back doctors, as people like. You know, yeah, do we take care of back pain? Yes, we're known as back doctors, but we're only known as back doctors because God decided to put the spine down the back. Had He put it down the arm, we'd be known as arm doctors. All right. So because of what we take care of, all right. And so we have this one reason why Doc and I jail like we do, because we look at the whole body, right? So we take care, as I said earlier, a myriad of different ailments. So one thing that we often talk about in the office, because we have people come to the office, is erectile dysfunction, okay? When people hear erectile dysfunction and chiropractic, how does that go together? Well, no kids in here, right? All right.
There may be some online.
Yeah, right. So the penis is a muscle. Let me say that again. The penis is a muscle, no different from any other muscle in your body. Muscles need proper blood flow and proper nerve information in order for them to work. So if you're not getting the proper blood or nerve information to the penis, it may get up, but it may not stay up, or it may not get up at all. But here's the thing. Here's what makes us different. When we have a guy that comes into the office talking about that situation, we're not just talking about that area, because our body is systemic. You know, our ancestors knew this. Our body is a complete system. It's not compartmentalized. So if there's not getting enough blood, if you're not getting enough blood or nerve supply to that area, where else perhaps are you not getting enough blood or nerve supply? The heart, the liver, all that. So again, that's what makes us the doctors, one of the things that makes us the doctors that we are.
Absolutely. And I just want to go back to one thing that you mentioned, environment. When we talk about, you mentioned the C word, and that is something that we as a community have been plagued with for generations and generations, and we're noticing that those numbers are climbing, and in some cases exponentially. But when it comes down to how our bodies function, from a chiropractic perspective, as I mentioned before, it's about structure and it's about function, but how we support that function is about what we do otherwise, one of it being nutritionally. So when we deal with, and whether it's the C word or any other ailment for that matter, these diseases that result in disease thrive in what are considered to be acidic environments.
Yeah.
So, okay, then the question is, okay, what causes an acidic environment in our bodies? And you mentioned a couple of those. Sugar, or anything that turns to sugar in the body. So not just table sugar, right? But it could be a starchy food, right? It's going to turn to sugar in the body. It could be alcohol. Alcohol is going to turn to sugar in the body. Why do all of these things convert to sugar in the body? Because the body utilizes sugar for energy. So it is innately going to convert it down to something that it can utilize. The problem is we have an excess. We create an excess of sugar in the body by the copious amounts that we're taking in. Once it turns to sugar in the body and it remains there, it's going to create an acidic environment within our bodies, and that creates a opportunistic environment for things like cancer, like arthritis, like autoimmune type disorders, like diabetes and things of that nature to fester because of the environment that we create in the body. So one of the ways to combat that obviously is to monitor the amounts of these foods that you're taking in. Nobody's saying you can't have them at all, but you want to monitor the amounts of these foods that you're taking in. Again, you want to be mindful of the times of the day in which you're taking these foods, right? Because if you eat going back to what I said earlier, if you eat a big meal before bed, your body is attempting to rest at that point. You're not burning off those foods, or you're not burning off that sugar that's being created because you're resting, right? So what the body does, it converts it to sugar and it just stays there, right? And that is what creates that acidic environment. So you have to do what you can to create an alkalinic environment within the body. My grandmother, one of the things that I used to always see her doing when I was growing up is she used to take a teaspoon of baking soda every morning and a full glass of water. Of course, as a child, I didn't understand why she did that. But now as an adult, and as someone who's studied and learned, I know why she did it. It's because baking soda actually helps to create an alkalinic environment in the body. Now, we had all of these old remedies. Our older generation, our elders, never knew why they did what they did. They just knew they needed to do it, right? But yeah, so I'm not saying that you need to take baking soda every day, but I'm just saying that it helps to create an alkalinic environment in the body, and that helps to ward off a lot of these diseases. So going back to pain, you mentioned another thing about pain and the check engine light. We always like to use that analogy because one of the questions we get from our patients is, do I need to come to the chiropractor if I'm not in pain? That's a good question. But as I mentioned before, there's structure and there's function, right? And one of the things that we always tell our patients is pain is not the cause, it's the effect, right? Typically, once you feel pain, something is already going on and it's been going on, right? The pain is that check engine light coming on to say, hey, I need you to get this checked out. So we don't ever use pain as an indicator to say, hey, you need to come see your chiropractor or you need to go see your primary care provider. We use function as the impetus to say, hey, continue to come in, just as you would get your oil changed in your car every 3,000 to 5,000 miles, just as you get your tires rotated in your car, or you go to see your dentist every 6 months to get your teeth cleaned. These are maintenance type things that you want to be doing to help be proactive when it comes to your health and not simply reactive. Going back to the C word. Studies show that by the time anyone who's inflicted with cancer in their body, by the time they actually start having symptoms and notice that something is wrong, chances are they're either stage 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Why is that? Because when you have these types of pathologies, cancer, whatever it might be going on in our bodies, a lot of times we don't know. Our bodies are designed to adapt and to continue to function as best as they can until they can't, right? So by the time you're actually feeling symptoms or feeling pain, these processes have been long going in our body. So that's why you never use pain as an indicator of health. Because, again, by the time you feel pain, it's been long going.
Yeah. So I'm going to make another example here about how the body works and kind of leads, like you say, Doc, if you're not in pain. So I'm sure everybody in here has heard growing up, don't eat and then go swim. Why? Because I heard it too, but why? Does anybody know why? Okay, cramps. Why are you getting the cramps? I see hand raised, Boy, I tell you, hold up, we need another seat up here. I tell you, 'cause that was spot on. That was spot on. That was spot on. So yes. Okay. So the question was, have you heard? I'm sure you have. Don't go swimming right after you eat. The young lady answered it with, because the blood is being taken from the digestive system, going to the digestive system because of the eating and everything. And this goes back to what we said earlier. So yes, the reason why we get the cramps is because when we eat solid foods or liquid foods, approximately, studies have shown this, approximately 25% of the blood leaves our extremities. So the arms, the legs, and even the head. That's why some of y'all get the itis after you eat. All right, that's a whole nother. But it leads, and it goes to the digestive system to help digest the food. So if you out there, if you just ate and you go swim, you're asking the muscles to do something, right? But if some blood have left those muscles, it can't do all that you want it to do, and so it's going to hurt. This goes back to when you eat before you sleep. Blood, remember what I said, blood leaves the extremities. One of the reasons why we sleep is to heal the body. That's why people go into a coma, whether it be induced or natural coma, right? Because the body is shutting down all the senses, sight, hear, smell, so that it can use that energy to go deal with the problem, okay? And so again, just going back to the swimming and the sleeping, it correlates because of eating at the wrong times and all that. Again, we love what we do. We want to open up for questions?
Yeah. One last thing I want to say before we open for Q&A. We have a state-of-the-art facility here in the Atlanta area in Lakewood Heights community. We are state-of-the-art because we want to give the best of what we have to offer to our patients and to our people. We don't want you to have to go across town to Midtown, Buckhead, Alpharetta to get good quality care.
Yes.
We have it right here in the community just for you all. Again, we have state-of-the-art chiropractic tables that can accommodate a myriad of different types of patients. We can treat pregnant women, we can treat babies, teenagers, our elderly community. It runs the gamut. We have a state-of-the-art digital x-ray. So we x-ray every patient because we do not want to put our hands on your bodies until we have a clear picture and a clear sense of what's going on with you. And then we will show you those x-rays real time. So we're not just telling you what we see, we're showing you what we see. And we are educating you in that way.
Yeah.
We have things such as spinal decompression therapy, so people that are dealing with ailments like sciatica, slip disc, herniated disc, pinched nerves, things of that nature, we can help with those situations. We have infrared heat therapy, which helps with cellular regeneration, so it's healing from the inside out, because true healing is from the inside out. We have hydromassage, we have mechanical traction, we have therapeutic ultrasound, electrical muscle stimulation. It runs the gamut. So we utilize every tool at our disposal to get you not only right from a structural standpoint, but from a functional standpoint as well.
Yes, we also have late hours, because we know Atlanta, the traffic is crazy, right? Not only traffic, but sometimes working hours do not coordinate with a lot of offices. So we're open till 9 p.m. on certain days. Yes, so that because we feel like if we're truly for the people, we need to give the people every opportunity to get to us. Now, we don't open on the weekends, as I said. So if you're trying to get to us, because we have family that we got to deal with on the weekend, but we do offer those hours. Also, for personal injury patients, and this is just for the personal injury patients, we also offer transportation, because we know that a lot of times, if you're in an auto accident, for example, that's your only means of transportation. And in order for you to get properly healed, you need to follow the plan that we set forth. And so to help with that, we offer transportation. And so, again, a lot of things we say in the office, I say this a lot, we say this a lot. Our female patients especially love this, and that is, if you want to be fine, take care of your spine. We got you.
So we are happy to take any questions
Yes.
or comments from the audience.
Come to the mic.
Yes, please come up to the mic so that you can be heard both in person and online.
This young lady right here got a hot question, because that hand been up for a minute.
So I was told that I had scoliosis. I believe that it's congenital. In my 30s, I was told that it wouldn't get any worse. And when I was able at that time to try to take care of myself, I wasn't given any options. And so now in my 60s, it has considerably gotten worse. I've been told that I have fusion. My question is, do you recommend any specific types of surgeries or braces? Because I wasn't given any of that at that time. And I exercise and I do things to keep my spine and body limber and flexible. But as I continue to get my numbers higher, I wanted to know, with the so-called age and gravitational pull and things that are continually doing things to my body, do you recommend any specific things for somebody my age?
That's a great question. First of all, you definitely need to come and see us, because
Yes.
scoliosis is one of the myriad of different conditions that we treat in our office.
Yes.
The thing about scoliosis is that many of us have it and may not know that we have it. I have a scoliosis myself. Most scolioses will form in our adolescent years, so in our teenage years. And typically, sometimes if it is congenital, it can be a little bit more progressed or a little bit more significant. But typically, once we reach our adult years and our growth plates close, then the scoliosis will be kind of fixed in place, if you will. Typically, it won't get any worse. That's the hope. Where chiropractic comes in at is we ensure that, one, it does not get any worse, but we do anything and everything that we can to reduce it and get it better, so that it's not causing any functional deficits down the road. So to answer your question, sister, definitely in instances that you need braces do help, especially if you're doing a lot of physical activity or a lot of standing, a lot of walking, or anything along those lines. You don't want to rely solely on the bracing, because one of the downfalls of bracing too much is that it does not allow the muscles to activate and expand or contract and relax like they should. So at appropriate times, it is appropriate to brace, but you don't want that to be the only thing that you do. You want that to be a supplement. And you definitely want to make sure that you're practicing proper posture as much as you adequately can, especially when we're on these little doohickeys here. We have a tendency to look down, right? That is wreaking havoc on our spines. It's wreaking havoc on our neck and our upper backs and even our low back. So whether you're reading, you're on the phone, or whatever it might be, try to keep everything eye level so that you're keeping your spine in a neutral position. When you're sleeping at night, the best position to sleep in, the position that our spines and our bodies love, is for us to be on our backs. We are designed to sleep on our backs. I had a dog of 12 years. My dog naturally slept on his back because he just knew that was the best position to sleep in. He's on his back, all four paws up in the air. But that puts our spine in a neutral position.
You sure that wasn't because he wants you to scratch him or something?
Maybe that was it. I don't know. But on our backs, you want to put a pillow under your knees. What that does is that puts your spine in a neutral position. You want one pillow under your head and neck. You don't want to stack your pillows because, again, that's going to create stress and strain to the neck and upper back. So those things will help with your condition, but definitely we encourage you to come and see us because what we do in the office can help and will help as well.
And right quick, it's about creating that environment within. You know, we talked about that earlier. And so what we do, as Doc said, we strengthen the joints. So even though there's scoliosis there in this case, what we do helps to strengthen the joints. Your spine is a series of joints. Your body is a series of joints. If those joints are not properly aligned, you will not work properly. So on average, it is said that we become skeletally mature at or around the age of 25. For some of us, and when I say skeletally mature, that means we're growing up, right? Some of us, we stop before 25. Some of us is after 25. Now, after that happens, as Doc mentioned about the growth plates, then we start growing vertically and start growing horizontally. I'm going to leave that alone. All right. So we can help you, sister. We can help you.
I don't have a phone by my bed because I have an old school clock radio I wake up to. So you mentioned the radios were bad. So the question is about corded versus not corded, and is it at least okay to have a corded clock radio in the bedroom, or what would you suggest?
You're saying wireless versus non-wireless?
Yeah.
So it still all has the same premise because even that cord radio has an antenna that is bringing in information. Even if you don't see the antenna, it may be internally. It has an antenna that's bringing in the information, the electromagnetic waves, when I say information. And so, again, you're still laying across those coils that can amplify that. So if at all possible, I know you might want to just roll over and hit that snooze. Roll over and hit that snooze. But maybe put it across the room, and then maybe you'll only hit that snooze one time. Because once you get up, you might just stay up. So, yeah. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
A little tall, I need to pick it up. First of all, I want to say thank God for you and what you do, both of you guys, right? And so I know unfortunately, in the African-American community, there's been a lot of myths about the back crackers. Y'all the stories, right? And so things, but tell us a little bit about the history of how this has been accepted in the medical field, because I know it was a time that it wasn't, right? I remember a time where I would want to get leave from work, and my chiropractor, I couldn't get a no from him, right, to leave, but now I understand. But there's a history behind what you all do and the science behind it, and there's a lot of myths in our communities that need to be dispelled.
Absolutely. That's a good question, Doc. I'll let you kind of, because you explained it so well.
Okay. So, just like most things in this society and in this world, the modern version of chiropractic, and I said modern version because our ancestors did this centuries ago. Think about it. Centuries ago, our ancestors, they didn't have synthetic drugs. They didn't have all these unnecessary surgeries. They did surgery, but they didn't have all these unnecessary. So how did they heal themselves, all right? This is one of the ways they heal themselves. So Let's go back to what I said earlier. The modern day profession was literally found on the back of a black man. His name was Harvey Lillard, okay? So we talking 1895, all right? Harvey Lillard was an industrious gentleman. He had his own janitorial service. And he was working for the founder, modern day founder, Palmer, of this profession. Apparently, Palmer owned the building that Lillard was working in. And so you know how it is, guys. We get together, we get to talking, get to laughing, this, that, and the other. And Palmer hit Lillard on the back, like, oh, man, that was funny, you know. And maybe, I don't know if Palmer knew this or not, but Lillard had a hearing problem, okay? Well, the next day, Lillard came back to Palmer and said, hey, what did you do to me? Because I can hear out of this ear now. And so what happened was, so let me say this, all the nerves in the arms and hand come from the neck. All the nerves in the legs and feet come from the low back. So what had happened was, that was the first adjustment in the neck that cleared his hearing. So that's the story. I'll let you go into the science, Doc.
Absolutely. So there's a saying that there is no money in the cure, all right? And that is a powerful statement. And for many, many years, as modern chiropractic, as Dr. Fowler mentioned, began to develop and evolve, it was being realized that chiropractors, when they were practicing properly, were achieving groundbreaking transformational change in their patients and in society. So much to the point that there was a groundbreaking, and some of you in this room may know about it, there was a groundbreaking court case back in the 80s that was trying to outlaw chiropractic. Not for what chiropractic wasn't doing, but because of what it was doing. Right? It was healing people. It was getting people better.
And there were actually doctors that were locked up.
There were chiropractors locked up for practicing chiropractic. Well, luckily, chiropractic won their case, right? And we're still here today. But to answer your question, sir, because of what chiropractic does and what it can do, there has been some pushback in other parts of other medical professions and things of the like, because, again, there's no money in the cure, right? And we're able successfully, through God, able to address a lot of ailments that we deal with on a day-to-day basis without the use of drugs, surgery, or chemoradiation. And it's because we're not interventionalists, right? We don't look at the body compartmentally, as Dr. Fowler said. We look at you as the whole holistic being that you are, and we are merely vessels. This is about ensuring that your body is functioning properly. The only thing we do is we go in and we address those areas that we see through our examination, through our consultation, and through our x-ray, and through all of that, what areas are dysfunctional, and we go in to make sure that those areas are functioning better, and your body and God does the rest. We sit back, and we let the body do the rest. I use myself as a prime example. As was told earlier, I had an injury in my back in college that debilitated me for over 6 months. Conventional medicine did nothing for me. I was even told that I needed surgery. That was 20 years ago. I haven't had a surgery yet, okay? But what I did do is I did go to a chiropractor. I got adjusted for the first time, and it literally changed my life. Not only did it relieve my back pain, but I also suffered from acid reflux at the time. I was taking medication daily. I noticed my acid reflux went away. And I was flabbergasted because, for one, I was in college. I hadn't been taking my medication because I couldn't afford it. So I had stopped taking my medication, and I noticed it went away. So when I went back to my chiropractor and I asked him about it, he broke it all down for me. And it's about the central nervous system. And he's adjusting a portion of my back that has spinal nerves that travel to my digestive system, regulating the amount of acid in my digestive tract. I haven't needed acid reflux medication in 20 years, right? So again, it's about what we do, right? And there are forces out there that see what we do. But again, it's not us, it's all God. God made us as self-healing and self-regulating individuals.
Got to create that environment.
As long as you have the environment within, your body will do what it needs to do on its own.
And one last thing I want to say. What a lot of people don't realize is our educational track mirrors MDs for the first 2 years. We take the same sciences, science classes, all that. What we don't take, though, is a lot of pharmaceutical classes because that's not in our philosophy, and we're not taught how to do surgery, again, because that's not in our philosophy. But we do take toxicology classes because a lot of people, when they come to us, patients, they have a brown bag full of drugs, right? And we have to know how those drugs correlate with our adjustments. And so, again, a lot of people, as the brother said, they say we're backcrackers. I had a relative to say, when they found out I was going to school to be a chiropractor, all right, you know they're called quacks. I said, well, I started sounding like a duck, and I'm gonna quack on then, and because I believed, I knew what God had put in me. I knew what God had put in me. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Greetings. Thank you so much. Last week I was working a convention of hand surgeons from all over the world. I was running mics, wireless mics, and I was trapped in the back room, not trapped, but I was in the back room for a solid week preparing speakers of surgeons while I'm listening on the headset to the graphicness that the graphics team was watching for the surgeons. The long story short is out in the convention hall, there were many presenters talking about ultrasound treatments. You didn't hear much about it in the general session, but they were all over the rest of the hall. And my question is, how does the ultrasound, we work with our hands in technical theater, how does the ultrasound liberate the nerves between here and here?
So that's a good question. So when we hear ultrasound, we always think of the little picture with the babies, right? But ultrasound is so much more. So just as you can utilize ultrasound to create a Doppler image, which is what is created with the babies, you can also use ultrasound therapeutically. So it creates sound waves that are penetrating down to the deep tissue layers of our structure. So now we're talking cellular, muscle, tendon, ligament, cartilage, nerve. So when you mention the nerve, what that ultrasound is doing, it is penetrating down to that neurological level in order to alleviate inflammation off of the nerve, right? Our nerves get aggravated when they become inflamed, right? So what the ultrasound is doing, it is helping to alleviate that inflammation. If there's any scar tissue that may be in the area that is causing or contributing to that issue, it's addressing and breaking down that scar tissue as well. But also, so that's the functional part. Structurally, you want to make sure that the surrounding anatomical structures are in proper alignment. So you mentioned your wrist. You've got several carpal bones in your wrist. You want to make sure that those carpal bones are in proper alignment. So when we're adjusting the extremity, we're not just looking at the wrist, because we have a system and a chain of bones and joints that come all the way down that extremity. So we're looking at the shoulder, we're looking at the elbow, we're looking at the wrist, and even the bones of the hands and fingers, because all of those are working together. So we could definitely help in that endeavor in whatever issues you have there. But yes, ultrasound, to answer your question, helps with cellular regeneration from the deep tissue level.
So I just want to add one thing to that too. You mentioned inflammation, and we talked about dis-ease and disease earlier, right? Well, inflammation, if you look up the characteristics or symptoms of 99% of the ailments that humans come upon, inflammation is in there. So we not only use the ultrasound for what Doc was just talking about, sister, but for example, 70 to 80% of your immune system lies in your digestive tract. So if you're inflamed, I said earlier you might be literally full of, but if you are inflamed, your digestive system and your immune system especially will not be able to fight off diseases or inflammations, or not inflammation, but diseases and other ailments that can come upon you. So we also use that ultrasound to help decrease the inflammation within the GI tract as well.
First, I want to thank the Hillside community for this informative. I'm traveling from California. It's my second year coming. And my mom dealt with vertigo, and I had to stop flying because I work in the tech industry. I fly around the country. I had to stop flying for something similar. Could you talk about like vertigo and you guys treating that? And then what's the payment process? Is it insurance or that type of thing?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, so you're talking vertigo. So there are different kinds of vertigo, right? So can you, yes, and my wife, she's dealt with this before too. She's waving at me in the audience. All right. So, but, so you can have one vertigo where you're spinning, but you can also have another type of vertigo where the room is spinning, all right? And so we always like to ask, or can you distinguish between the two? A lot of times people can't distinguish, right? But it all goes back to the central nervous system, okay? And then when you're talking about, and so there are, and see now we can go into scientifically and all that a little bit too. Vertigo can be caused by just simply breathing wrong, right? Well, the diaphragm, okay? The diaphragm is innervated by nerves that come to the neck. So when we adjust that neck in the right way, and that's again, when the chiropractic is done properly, that sends the right nerve signals to the diaphragm so that you can breathe. Again, there are a number of different things that can cause vertigo, all right? Again, the proper adjustment. And so Doc talked about it earlier when he talked about the soft tissue, the nerves, ligaments, tendons, but there's also the disc that's in between the vertebrae, all right? If those discs are, and you may have heard the term herniated or I don't know if you heard of prolapse, but herniated disc, you probably have heard that. If that disc is hitting on a nerve or sitting on a nerve, it can, depending on how you move, cause vertigo type symptoms. And so yes, we can and we do help with that. You want to explain?
Yes, we have a lot of different patients that come to us with vertigo or vertigo-related symptoms. So as Dr. Fowler mentioned, of course, we're looking at the spine, the neck, but we're also looking at the vestibular system within the central nervous system. You may have fluid in your ears that's throwing your equilibrium off or your balance. You may have misalignment in the occipital region of your skull that is causing a malposition in how you balance or how your head is sitting upon your spine, because our bodies are naturally designed to correct and balance themselves only when we're functioning properly. But if you have a malposition in a bone in the upper part of your neck or in the lower part of your skull, and your body is not able to correct or counterbalance itself, that alone can cause vertigo. So in many cases, an adjustment alone will help to correct that. So definitely chiropractic will help in what your mom is going through there. But as far as our pricing, so we price our services affordably because, as we mentioned at the top of the program, we are here for our people, and we want our people to be able to benefit from what it is that we have to offer. So we have affordable pricing. As far as health insurance, we do not accept health insurance, and there's several different reasons why. But the two top reasons is, one, insurances will not fully cover what it is that we do in our office. Right. Because they consider what we do to be, how do you say, Doc? What do they consider what we do?
Well, you talking about country club?
Well, what we do is cutting edge,
Yeah.
right? And unfortunately, many insurances will not cover what we do.
Yeah.
For instance, spinal decompression therapy. A lot of insurances won't cover that. Spinal decompression therapy has been scientifically proven to reduce herniated discs, pinched nerves, migraine headaches, sciatica. They will not cover it. For instance, Medicare requires us to utilize x-ray in order to properly diagnose the patient in order to get reimbursed. Well, unfortunately, Medicare does not pay for the x-ray, right? So you're requiring us to do something that you're not paying for.
Right.
So for those reasons and many others, we unfortunately had to discontinue accepting insurance. But again, however, we price our services affordably, and many of our patients have discovered that they come out cheaper paying us cash
As opposed
versus filing insurance, because then you're not dealing with co-pays,
Right.
you're not dealing with co-insurance, you're not dealing with deductibles. So in many cases, it's actually cheaper the way that we have it structured in our office.
And let me say this. What a lot of people don't realize is that policy that you have, that is a contract between you, the policyholder, and the insurance company. That is not a contract between the insurance company and the provider. So you find a lot of doctors, not just chiropractors, but even MDs stepping away from insurance because of those type games that they like to play. They will pay for something 1 year and then come back another year and audit it and want to take it all back. And you don't know that. All you know is I paid my $20 and so, no, we got to eat too.
Yes, ma'am.
I think you probably answered the question, but I'm under the VA care, and I noticed they are being more open to different healing modalities. So my question is, have y'all been able to align with the VA in their health care, in helping their, your vets to?
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm glad you mentioned this because we failed to mention it. We are actually a part of the VA Community Care Network.
Optum, yes.
So we do treat veterans. I'll make sure you have our information before we leave. But that is a service that we certainly wanted to offer our veterans because our veterans so greatly needed. My dad was a veteran of the U.S. Army, 32 years. So that's something that's near and dear to my heart, and absolutely we offer care to veterans, and I'll make sure that you have our information before we leave.
I had one in the office earlier today.
Yes, and I so appreciate it because I'm on my wellness has been it's been different than the average, some of my average folks as a vet. So I look for alternative, healthy ways to heal my body and align my body. So I appreciate it.
You're an advocate for yourself, sister. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask you, this is peculiar. I had eye surgery on both of my eyes due to cataracts. I was walking fine and doing okay. Of course, I had 5 bypass surgery in 2021, April 2021. I declared I wasn't going to die. I told the doctor when he says, well, we can fix your valve because of prolapse valve. He said, but I'm not sure about your heart. So let me tell you something.
That's right.
You, the cardiologist, you got all of this education and training and experience. I expect you to fix my heart because I will not die.
That's right.
Because my work is here on earth.
That's right.
So they thought I was funny. So he said, you said your work. What do you do? I said, I write. So he starts shining his glasses. He said, what's that got to do with healing? I say, because the same mind and divine intelligence that knew that there would be eventual human bodies create the first 2 chemical elements.
That's right.
So I didn't ever say the Higgs boson. They were shocked because at the time I was 70 years old. So they start laughing among themselves and wanted to know, well, what's that? I say, universal mind mean the divine intelligence that knew how to create the chemical elements to prepare us for many, many, many evolutions to get to where we are now. And I said, and that's how they know they can fix one body and get it standardized because it's made out of the same stuff.
That's right.
All of those elements. So, but I wanted to know, why is it I can't seem to get my balance going so that I don't have to walk with the cane? But I know the vision is, you know, eye of the world, sees everything. How is it, do you think some exercises with a chiropractic might do me well to help me to balance myself so that I can see well and get control of that?
Absolutely. Chiropractic is certainly something could definitely help. And the reason being is that we talk about function, right? And,
yes.
And you've experienced a surgery. So we want to make sure that things are functioning properly. Because just as they had to, go in to do that bypass, right?
Yes.
That has altered the structure in that thoracic spine area.
Yes.
The thoracic spine is the conduit or the connection between your cervical spine, which is your neck, and your lumbar spine, which is your lower back. So there's most likely some adhesions that have been created in that area that is altering the biomechanics of how your body is moving, which is why after you notice that you weren't able to balance and walk like you were prior.
Right.
So absolutely chiropractic can help, and we'd be delighted to get you in the office and do what we can for you.
Yeah, I think probably your problem is, now you told that doctor, you fix my heart. You should have told him not only fix my eyes, but make sure I can walk too.
Well, I had...
No. But let me say this. I'm just playing right now. But what we have to realize, surgery is trauma too.
Yeah.
Surgery, I don't care what, is trauma too to the body, right? And so as Doc mentioned, there may be some adhesion or scarring, inflammation somewhere, whether it be in the optic chiasm, which is where the eyes connect and all that kind of stuff. And so we can help with that.
Okay.
All right, one more question.
One more question is, my sister walked...
The person behind you. You'll get Mary, you'll get an opportunity. You'll get an opportunity once we're done. But we have one behind you, okay? You want to give her an opportunity as well, right? That's Mother Jamel behind you. Give Mother Jamel a hand, will you? Give her a hand. Give Mother Jamel.
Okay.
They're going to answer your question after we complete, okay? Because we have another session. Give Marion a hand. Bless her. Bless those legs and those knees and those hips.
Thank you for your presentation. It was very informative. And I'm asking this question for a friend who had a knee replacement and is still having some residual pain from that. Wanting to know if a person, again, has had surgery by somebody else, not with you guys, because you're not surgeons, can then they come to you and maybe get some relief from the residual pain from the knee replacement?
Absolutely. The short answer to that question is yes, and we have several patients in our office that we're seeing what we would consider to be post-op or post-operative, so after the knee surgery, after the hip surgery, after the back surgery. Because obviously, as Dr. Fowler just mentioned, when we have these surgeries, yes, they're good and they're necessary, but what they don't tell you is that it is altering and changing the biomechanics of how your bodies move, right? So a lot of times we have patients, and we see this every day in our office, where patients are dealing with pain and dysfunction secondary to the actual surgery. Definitely we can help your friend and deal with any scarring that may be as a result of the surgery, but more importantly, make sure that the other parts of the body, neck, mid-back, low back, hips, knee, the other knee, feet and ankle are functioning properly.
So again, thank you guys.
Thank you. We really enjoyed it. Thank you for having us.
And see this, we say brother because of our other connection. This is our fraternity brother. And so I want to say one last thing. We say a lot of things. One last thing I want to say is auto accident, wellness care, slip and fall. We take care of it all.
Let's give these two a big hand, will you? Listen, that was a lot of great information. So just a couple of things. Yes, Dr. Fowler, Dr. Brandon, bless you. I don't get to see them as often as I need to, but I've been seeing y'all for about maybe 2 years, almost 2 years now. And so this is what we're working on. Y'all want to know, would you like to know what we're working on? Why don't you ask me, Jack, what are we working on? We are working on, listen, y'all listening online? You know, we are working on our own wellness center, right? Wait. Right? We got wellness practitioners. Raise your hand, practitioners. We got our counseling center. We're working on the wellness center. We're working on getting these two to come here and extend their practice right here on the Hillside campus. How about that? Yeah. Don't y'all agree? Would y'all like that? Yeah. Why don't you show them a little bit more? Say, come on. We actually, we have just a gift, and one of these got something in there. You want to I started getting chiropractic care many years ago. I think I was in around 94. I used to have severe headaches. I mean, I could not sleep longer than 2 hours. I had to sleep sitting up for probably a few years, and I saw this leaflet. If you have headaches, migraines, can't sleep, all of these things, come and visit. It was from a chiropractic office. And I went, and at first the doctors thought that I had a brain tumor. And they did all of these tests and everything and gave me this medication. And I refused to take it. And when I saw that leaflet, I knew that that was my answer. And when I went and started receiving chiropractic care, it changed everything. And so I'm a big believer in what you do, and I give thanks. I thought that maybe I was going to do it too, but I'm all right with having two friends who's doing it. But give them another big hand. Thank you so very much. Listen, are you all available for any questions that they might have? Now listen, this is what we're going to do. Those of you who have questions, come right here. We're going to talk to Dr. Brandon, Dr. Fowler here. Those of you who need a stretch and run to the restroom, go right away, because Dr. Ona Brown is here, and she's going to begin. We're going to begin at 3:45. You got it? What time? 3. You know we start on time. All right. Go. Come on. You come on down. They're going to come and ask. Can you give them a little music? Give them a little run to the restroom and come right back music, Lou. And then come and talk to the doctors right away. Now, don't you let Mary and him you up. right, we got 4 minutes. 4 minutes. Deacon 8, Pilot, Hillside Air, go start ushering people. Everybody, this is the Hillside Pilot right here. Can you give the pilot a big hand? So y'all didn't give him a big hand. See, next conference, we're going to be flying our people in on the Hillside Air. Got it? Can everybody say Hillside Air? Hillside Air. Air. Hillside Air, for short for airline. All right, friends, if y'all can make your way back in. All right, we have 2 minutes. 2 minutes. All right, we have Deacon Gail. Will you bring everybody on in? Usher them in. Just tell them to get out of the hall. Come on in. They're still coming in. We're very grateful. We still got a minute and a half, Lou. Got a minute and a half. Oh, if you need to move that out of the view, feel free. I don't know where you want to put it. We're very grateful to and for our online community. Thank you all for being on. Thank you for being a part of this conference. If you haven't done so, we invite everyone to visit united2025.com and visit the table, information table. Okay, can we all stand up for just a second as you're able? Stand as you're able. And we're going to do, to stir up the energy a little bit, how about you stretch as high as you can? Get up on your tiptoes as you're able. Come on. Stretch up. Bring it down to stretch wide. Oh, does that feel good? Now, why don't you turn around to the person in front of you? You just tap, maybe do a slight shoulder massage or tap on the person. Come on. or tap, or tap. I'll count down from 5, then you're going to switch. 1, 5, 4. Oh, you already switched. Go ahead and switch. Okay. Doesn't that feel good? All right, so turn around and say thank you. Thank you. Tell them thank you. All right, as you take your seat. Thank you, Lou. We're so excited to have our next presenter. I'm going to invite Reverend Dr. Nicole Charles to come and do the introduction.
Hello, Hillside again, those in person and those away at home visiting us. So, are you having a good time? Yes. I know, it's juicy, ain't it? Can you hear me now? Okay. So, when I was asked to introduce this wonderful person who works with luminaries, though she is one herself, I was very impressed, beyond impressed. So, though most of you already know the bio, I want to kind of give a summation of it again. This incredible woman is internationally known. She serves the world, not just being in service, but serving the world to be their greater selves, with pieces of work of how to fall in love with your life, discovering the greatest you ever, answer the call, and when seasons change, and we know many of them change. She reminds people from an international level, from small groups, the personal, to the larger. She has worked with corporations, not just those that we might have heard of, but those that also shake the world. From, from organizations such as American Airlines, British Petroleum, the Federal Reserve Bank. She's even in the wallet of all of us. Miami-Dade Airport and Deloitte, just to name a few. She's so bad that she has her own day that is recognized in Buffalo, New York, and New Orleans, where she has a dedicated day in her name. What does greatness look like? She was born into it. For those of you who might kind of look at her and say she looks a little familiar, her eyes sparkle and her high cheekbones are that of her daddy. She is Les Brown's daughter. And so when you're born into greatness, the only thing you can do is tell others, here's what it can look like. And she gives us maps. Let's get ready for this woman who not only is shaping the world, but she has received so many awards, and that is one of an honorary doctorate, PhD in economic development, and she's also been honored by the Obama administration with the Presidential Award. I would like to introduce you to an incredible, incredible woman, Dr. Ona Brown.
Thank you, Queen. Thank you. Dr. Charles, thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. How's everyone doing today? Good. It's good to be here at Hillside. Listen, I'm going to ask something of you. You know, Rosa Parks went to jail so that we could sit in the front. So anyone who is more than 3 rows back, I'm going to ask you to lovingly be open and be coachable and be movable. Let me hear you say, I'm movable. I'm flexible. Okay, good. So I love it when you come to the front, because what happens is there's a collective energy. There's a connection that we're making together. So it's beautiful when we're all pulled in. I was going to ask them to do it, but I said, no, let me do it. Thank you for everyone that's cooperating. It's beautiful to see your smiling faces towards the front. You're looking good, smelling good. Someone paid the price for you to be here and look as lovely as you are. So give it up for yourselves. Give yourselves a round of applause. As people are still moving, it's okay. I'm going to move forward and just say happy Friday. Happy anniversary. Happy Ubuntu. I am because, yes, we are. I salute the divinity within each and every one of you. Namaskar. So I am also giving honor to my spiritual mothers. I'm so blessed to give honor to Dr. Johnny Coleman, who was my spiritual mother when I was in Chicago. And then when I relocated here years later to Atlanta from Miami, Dr. Johnny Coleman got me on a three-way call with Dr. Bishop Barbara King. And she said, my baby's coming to Atlanta. I want you to look out for her and take care of her. And Dr. Barbara King said, it's done. So I was on the phone like, wow, this is amazing. And so I had an opportunity to spend so much quality time. I'm so grateful for the time that I had with these powerful women that were just amazing spirits. And every time I come to Hillside, I think about the fact that when we come here, we're so blessed because we're sitting in their dream. You're sitting right now in their vision. And so you are part of the manifestation of that vision. So that says a lot about who you are, because you're connected to that type of power. So everything that's in them is also in us. Yes? So we receive that, and we thank you for that. Thank you for being a part of that. And also, I want to make sure that we acknowledge none other than the great King Reverend Jack Bomar. Powerful leader, igniter, healer, inspirer, and he is the living demonstration of Ubuntu. He is not intimidated by your light, and he makes room for everyone to shine because of an abundant heart. So I'm so honored when he asked me to be a part of this. And if you look up Ubuntu, I think his picture is there, but I'm not sure. It should be, right? So let's make sure that we acknowledge him and thank you. And repeat after me, results don't lie. He's doing amazing work, continuing the legacy, and the results are speaking for themselves. So without any further ado, we want to jump in with the time that we have. And I want somebody that's a timekeeper to keep me on point, because I see the time up here, but when I get in the zone, I may or may not. So just like give me a 15-minute warning, and I know I need to land the plane. Let me hear you say land the plane, because we want to be on time. So I'm excited because we're going to talk about what you see. Repeat after me. What you see is what you get. And I remember as a little girl, one time I was, my mom said she doesn't believe I can remember this, but I vaguely remember we were in the grocery store, and I was in the little, where the children sit in the cart, and there was a woman complaining about the actual canned goods, because some of them were damaged. And so she was like, what is this? And why are we? And she was just going on. And I think I had heard it from a song or something, but I said to the woman, ma'am, what you see is what you get. And my mom said, she apologized to the lady and said, my apologies, she's talkative like that. I had my daddy's blood, so I was doing what I needed to do. And in that moment, I think about how oftentimes our reality is a reflection of our own perceptions, our own beliefs, our own mindset. And as we know this, as practitioners of truth, it's up to us to take some time to do an assessment. Let me hear you say assessment of what our actual vision is like, what our eyesight is like. And so first we're going to jump into the scripture, which is 2 Corinthians 4:18. And that says, so we fix our eyes not on what is seen. Who said it? She's on. Good, thank you. For what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal. Okay, so that's 2 Corinthians 4:18. Now, we all know that there's different levels of seeing, right? There's different dimensions of seeing. And let's break down the physical eye first. I had this beautiful PowerPoint that, for whatever reason, did not make it, but guess what? It's okay. Let me hear you say it's okay. Because that means that I don't have to focus on that. I get to focus on you. And so how many of you ready for your next level of transformation? Let me hear you say yes. Yes. And so with that being said, I want us to think about the different levels of the physical eye. And when you get up, this is for the younger people that might be in the room. When you get a little older, you will realize that sometimes things that used to be crystal clear to your physical eye is no longer as clear as it used to be. Has anyone else experienced that? Okay, and so I was in denial of that. I was not ready to accept that. So I kept doing this every time I needed to see something. I was squinting a lot. And then finally I broke down and made an appointment with the optometrist. And I did not want to go. I felt like this was out of consciousness, and I needed to raise my consciousness in order to see better. But anyway, I did the exam, and when they do the eye chart, they allow you to determine, look at these different things that you can see clearly. And how many of you know you rock the first line or two and you feel good? Yeah. And then after you start to progress down, that's when you start seeing that you can't see as clearly. And it's getting to the fine print. How many of you know the fine print of life is where a lot of things that if you had looked at your life going back, that if you had paid more attention to the fine print, that's a whole nother subject. We're not going to go into that. But you get into that fine print, and that's when you start to maybe not be able to see as clearly. So based upon that, what happens is they will write you a what? A prescription, so that you may either see better or clearer or further or sometimes what? Closer, based upon whatever your specific situation is. So how do we know when we are seeing with our mind's eye, with our vision, when it's impaired? When we haven't realized that we're not looking at things correctly. We can look at things a little differently and get a shift. Let me hear you say a shift. Anybody in here ever had a situation where your entire life was flipped upside down? And as a result of that, you feel like you were off. So you start looking at things from a different perspective. Anyone? Okay, good. So was it last year? I think it was around February of last year, I got into my first incident ever where I shattered my elbow and dislocated my shoulder and fractured my ankle in 2 places. And I like to tell people I was fighting for civil rights. But the reality is I was just taking out the trash. Just taking out the trash. It had rained the night before. The Reeboks got a little slippery. I was trying to give this extra wave to this neighbor that says I never have time for her. And so I was trying to give her some extra love, and I slipped. And my elbow caught my entire body. So I'd never been in a hospital except for to visit people, because I've been blessed with good health. Let me hear you say good health. And I'm very intentional about being proactive about my health, because having helped my father grow through various types of what we call the little C. And he was given a 3 to 5 years prognosis and said, get your life in order. You're going to be gone within 3 to 5 years. And that was over 30 years ago. We took that journey together for him to still be alive. So as a result of that, I remember we got him on a plant-based diet, and I took that journey with him because I didn't want to be eating certain things in front of my dad when he was trying to save his life. And so I remember one time, 2 o'clock in the morning, I heard something. I didn't know if maybe somebody was in the house. I went to the kitchen, and I found my dad with a chicken wing. I said, Daddy, back away from the chicken wing. What are you doing? It's not worth your health. And he said, baby, this chicken wing called me in here in the middle of the night. And so what I realized was we had to be very intentional about feeding life to the cells. I mean, you say life to the cells. And we were overcoming this appearance of this thing that, you know, Dad always says that doctors can give the diagnosis, but God gives the prognosis, right? Because they told him you'll be gone in 3 to 5 years, and he's still walking around, and the doctors are scratching their head. And some of the doctors that said that are now gone. They've crossed over. So don't ever allow someone to give you their opinion on something and not come back to the truth. That's what we're here for, to really learn how to practice that truth so that we can arise above whatever is said to us in those challenging times. Yes or yes? Okay, so where was I saying before that? No. We were talking about the value of being able to take care of yourself. So here I am. I'm dealing with this first physical challenge for me. And I felt like it was almost as if, God, did you forget about your girl, the one that's always doing good and making a difference and being obedient? And I felt like I was out of alignment. Have you ever felt out of alignment because of a situation or a circumstance? And so as a result of that, I realized that every time I heard the truck go by, even though I had to have my surgery and they put titanium in here, and now I'm like Bionic Woman. Anybody grow up watching Bionic Woman? Okay, good. When I heard the truck go by, I would think to myself, wow, that reminded me of that decision that I made that day. And I kept trying to redo it in my mind. Have you ever tried to redo in your mind? And so as a result, I decided that I was going to leave. I accepted an offer to do some work out in Vegas, and I was out in Vegas. I made a year commitment. It was the longest year of my life, and I realized that I'm not cut out for the desert, and I kept missing Hillside and missing my family. And so what happened was, in the midst of all of that, I made my way back here in June of this year, and I want you to repeat this after me, because Dorothy was right. There's no place like home. Ooh, and you don't have to learn that the hard way like I did, okay? So that was the situation, but in the midst of that, I learned a lot. I grew a lot. I expanded. And so every time we have these challenges, we've got to look at how we're looking at these challenges and how we can begin to shift our perspective, our perception, so that it can be better. Let me hear you say better. All right. So without any further ado on that, I want you to think about a particular lesson in your life that you may have not looked at it correctly, but now, years later, when you look back, it makes sense to you. I'll give you a perfect example. When I was a young girl, anybody have a strict mom when you were raised, no nonsense, don't play, don't care what the other kids are doing, it doesn't matter. So my mom was very adamant, you're not doing any of these things called slumber parties. You're not sleeping over nowhere. And I'm like, but everybody does it, and it's fun, and it's, so I thought that she was very strict for no reason. I was a very good old soul type of young girl who just wanted to be able to have fun. And she was very adamant, like, no, this is not happening. So I used to go over to my neighbor named Miss Letha's house. And Miss Letha she had this little bar, and I would get on the bar. She would pour me some milk and give me some chocolate chip and cookies. And we would sit there at the bar while I'm drinking my milk and cookies. And I'm like, why do you think she's so strict? Like, what is this about? What's the problem? And she said, she just loves you, and she believes in you, and she sees who you're going to become. And so that's why she's very protective of you, because you got to see yourself like a diamond owner. And we protect diamonds, don't we? She said, you have a diamond in you. It's something special about you, and you'll understand years from now. Let me hear you say years from now. So I've been doing all this coaching. I've been coaching people all around the world since 1995, before coaching became this thing that everybody and their mother does. And you know, Malcolm Gladwell said that once you do something for over 10,000 hours, you reach a mastery level of it. So I've been coaching for all these years, and I've talked to all these top executives and CEOs and multimillionaires and people that were just doing amazing things in the world. And you would be surprised how many people have stuff that we unpack in these sessions. We unpacked